Welcome to the Cyber AI Chronicles podcast presented by Digital Edge, where strategy meets security and trust empowers growth. My name is Stacey Jennifer, and I'm your host for today's episode. Hello. Today we have a special episode where Digital Edge's CEO, Michael Petrov, shares a story that highlights the importance of conducting independent audits and understanding your infrastructure. This short fireside chat discusses the process that takes place after an attack and the lessons learned. So let's hear what Michael has to share.
Hi, my name is Michael Petrov, and I'm the CEO of Digital Edge. We are a cybersecurity and compliance company, and I wanted to speak a little bit about why we need independent audits. Let me start with the story. We are receiving a call in the middle of the night that all the systems of one of our clients, all the systems are down. And always when you go into a cybersecurity incident, you think, will we have enough strength to recover? Do we have backups? Are they solid? Will we have experience to recover the client and how fast we can do it? And there is a protocol how to handle information security incidents. Certainly we follow, we split up teams. So one team would be responsible for the communication, because if the client is a highly regulated industry, then you have to notify authorities or clients on time, and the clock is ticking, and the communication has to be done in a certain way that insurance company later on possibly would accept it if there is a lawsuit or further investigation. So this communication has to be done in a very tight manner. Another team is trying to figure out how they got in and if they still inside and how to kick them out. And the third team is trying to figure out how to recover. So all these teams are working, and we know there's going to be days or weeks of 24 hours a day shifts. People will be tired, people will be doing everything what is possible, going through tons of logs. One of the quality of a serious cybersecurity guys is that they can read logs, and it's very annoying, but they can read logs and they can understand what was happening, correlate multiple logs. Certainly with our private AI, it's possible to use our vectorized store to correlate logs better and see what's going on, but still it's very annoying work. And you always fighting against a very serious adversary, and it's always challenging. It's almost like when I was younger, I was boxing. It's always like going to the ring. Okay, if someone is challenging you, and you gotta figure out how to survive. So back to independent audits. This particular case that I started my story is we found how they got in. So it was a piece of equipment somewhere outside of US that didn't have two-factor authentication, and internal IT just forgot about this piece of equipment. And bad guys found this little hole, brute force attack, got in, started propagating. Internally, the company didn't have, because they could impersonate as an existing user. They elevated privileges, they shut down antivirus and all defenses and guards, and did whatever they had to do. The thing is that it could easily be avoided if very serious internal audit would be done by rules, how it's supposed to be done. We see lots of different ways people are auditing, and the most ridiculous one is when auditor is coming and saying, okay, these are your controls, just give me evidences. They don't understand the whole ecosystem of the infrastructure. They don't understand the architecture, and they're just checking, oh, you have evidence, checkbox. In the best case, they will say, okay, the maturity of the control implementation is this and that. So what we see in practice is the most severe cybersecurity incidents happen when something was forgotten. And the company could have SOC 2 report, ISO, high trust, whatever it is, PCI, and they sincerely implemented the cybersecurity controls and safeguards, but they would forget something. They would forget something. It would be sitting outside, and if you have your infrastructure and everything is covered by your cybersecurity program, in some cases there is something that is sitting there which would not be on Active Directory, which would not be covered by all the controls and all the safeguards. And this is exactly weak point where bad guys are coming. So the internal audit should happen, and it's better to bring outside consultants and see what they can find. And the audit should start with like understanding of infrastructure, understanding of all the locations, understanding of where information could be sitting, and only then assess the implementation of the controls. One of the biggest challenge is to assess that cybersecurity framework is applied to 100% of infrastructure, to 100% of devices, 100% of access points, 100% of employees. And certainly AI can help with that, but it has to be a private AI. You cannot put all this information to public offerings like ChatGPT. But the point is that internal audit of your infrastructure should be done by someone who understands infrastructure, understands the complexity of the environment, and first check if controls in your information security system is applied to all the elements of your infrastructure. And by the way, that case that I started my story with was resolved. Backups were good. We recovered the client. The losses were not significant, but the lesson learned is that the internal propagation is a very difficult thing to catch. And what we do, we use honeypots for this to alarm that something is moving inside, left, right. Another lesson is that one of the first priority for the auditor is to understand full scope of the system and understand if information security system is applied to the full infrastructure. So we recover the client every time when we're done, and after weeks of hard work, we look back and we happy. This is what we are. We are cybersecurity engineers, and we are happy when we won that fight. Certainly there are bruises, but we dealt with them, and every time we resolve cybersecurity incidents, our clients become stronger. Thank you very much, and I will share my experience with you in the next episode.
We're not here to add to the noise. We're here to help you lead with clarity, security, and confidence. Thank you for listening, and subscribe to catch up on all of our future episodes.